Well, I know a thing or two about that. It's like, but I don't really. Not in depth. Hello, darlings, and welcome to the video. Today's video should be super fun because we're going to be looking at writing memes. Everybody loves memes, right? Hopefully. Today's memes will be focusing mostly on writing in general, but with some more focused on poetry. But I personally feel like the majority of these memes will be relatable to anyone who writes. I got these memes from 3 different sources. The Poetry Memes Twitter account, which is a dead account but has a lot of poetry memes on it. The Writing Memes Reddit account, and directly from my very talented poet friend, Skylar. I haven't read them all, but I am ready to have a good laugh. I know that these types of videos are usually filmed at someone's computer and their screen's recorded with OBS, but my computer is very slow and hates me, so that's not going to happen. I'm just going to look at it on my very slow laptop that also hates me, and I will just insert the pictures here or there because that's the best I can do until I get a new computer. With all that said, let's get started. We're going to start with the memes from the Poetry Memes Twitter account. Okay. I mean, this is pretty accurate. Any vaguely bizarre life occurrence. Me. This is a metaphor. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this could go with poetry or writing, but I definitely as a poet, that this is very relatable. I'll like just see anything or experience anything and be like, this is imagery, this is a metaphor, this is this. And I think it's just the way writing minds work. Whether you're a poet or a writer, you're always like looking into things. Okay, this one shows Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, and it says / poets. I don't know when / became popular in poetry, but I know that nowadays they're used a lot. And once I started using / I started using them a lot more than I thought I would. I remember I only started using them a few years ago when I saw some other people formatting their poems like that, and I was like, okay. And now I use them pretty regularly, and I don't know what it is about them. I think it just allows you to divide up your sentences and put pauses in ways that you might not be able to do in any other way, or just with commas or dashes. So I don't know, but poets really do like / Okay, this next one's funny. My brain, the idea for a poem I had while falling asleep. And it shows like a text character kicking someone down the stairs. I know y'all can see it, but I'm describing it for anyone who might have a hard time seeing. But yeah, this is so accurate. Like sometimes I'll be like falling asleep and I'll be having an idea, and I will be like, oh my god, I gotta write this down. I'll rush awake, and I'll be like, and I'll write it down. And then sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'll remember this in the morning. In the morning, I'll remember. And then I'll wake up and be like, I don't remember it. It's gone forever. And then I'll spend like all day trying to remember it. Like it's like this great idea, and it probably wasn't a great idea, but I'll spend all day, I'll be like, what was it? I was gonna write down. And it's just gone. Sleep took it. Sleep, the killer of ideas. Okay. This one, okay, so this guy is standing, and it says, me. Another metaphor involving bodies of water. people who read my poetry, and that's like someone who's sitting down, and it says, "What the hell is that?" You know what it is, bitch. I don't know what it is about poets and bodies of water, but we talk about water and the moon like constantly. Like we're always an ocean or a trickling stream or pulled by the sway of the moon or something like that. There's a lot of that. A lot of that. Now, usually each individual poet will have their own imagery they go back to that's not those things. Those are just like really common things. And I think it's just because people are drawn to the ocean and to water, and they're drawn to the moon. And those two things interconnect because the moon controls the tides and all of that. So I don't know. But like it's just not uncommon for me to just like go on Instagram and read a poem and it involve either the moon or water. It's very common. Okay, so this next one is another one that has to do with like coming up with ideas like as you're falling asleep. These are so relatable. I don't know what it is about like the state of falling asleep that gives you ideas, but can you just do it while I'm awake? Anyway, here's the meme. 3 a.m. My soft, shitty, sleep-deprived body. And that's a girl who's like walking with her ears covered. And then behind her is a boy blowing a trumpet, and it says, "An idea for a new poem." The accuracy! I have literally woken up from a sleep at like 5 a.m. and just written a poem before. Just like out of sleep and like, I have an idea. And then just like passed out. And then the next day, I'll like open my notes app and I'll be like, what is this? When did I write this? Where is this from? And then I'll vaguely remember having woken up at 5 a.m. and just like written a poem, and just the creative mind is a wonder. So this next one is cute and funny. So there's a horse and there's a cat. So someone's holding the cat, and it's a Sphinx cat, so it's a bald cat, and it says "me." And the hand is my brain, and the horse is the topic I can't stop mentioning in all my poems. Oh, this is so relatable because, like I said, most poets have something they mention a lot. They'll have repeating imagery or repeating themes. Like I talk about my anxiety all the time in my poetry. Like so many of my poems are about having anxiety. And that's just like an example. It's just, we have reoccurring topics that are just things that are really important to us. But I could also see that just in writing. Like a lot of times certain topics will come up. And sometimes it's intentional, like Stephen King putting Maine in every single book he writes. Or it'll be unintentional, it'll just be behaviors or, I don't know, subjects that are just interesting to the author, so they involve them, but it's accurate. It's funny. I don't know if I'm supposed to feel called out by all of these. I do. Anyway, this next one is good. Okay, this one gets me on multiple levels. So there's a man in a bathtub screaming, and it says "me." And then there are two lobsters on the side of the bathtub. One says "submission deadlines." The other says "the fear of rejection." So yeah, this is really accurate. I think when I'm going to say when you're starting out, but also like in general, for a while, you're intimidated by submission deadlines and the fear of rejection. I would say I still am, because I'm not constantly submitting things and I'm not constantly working with someone else's deadline. So it is kind of scary. But this also works for me because I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat animals. And just like looking at this image in general is just like, I could just see the lobsters being like, "This is justice. Justice." And I'd be like, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Justice. Justice must be served. And this next one is a tweet from the Poetry Memes account. So it reads, "You've heard of Elf on the Shelf. Now get ready for another poem about the moon or how bad I am at coping." What did I say? The ocean and the moon. Bodies of water and the moon. Water, moon, water, moon. Very, very common in poetry. I don't know why. It is what it is. I think it is interesting though to see how people who kind of like work in the same field and write in the same genres, how they might be drawn to certain imagery. That is interesting to think about. Okay, so this is another just tweet from the Poetry Memes account. It reads, "When the concept for the poem is great, but you're on draft 5 and the poem itself is still shitty." And it shows a picture of SpongeBob being very sad. And once again, so relatable. It's like that thing when like something's really good in your head and you're trying to get it to be as good as it is in your head, and you're just like struggling with the execution. I hate that. I hate that. But this is what I'll say. I often feel pressured after writing a poem to like post it online right away because, you know, there's all this pressure to post online every single day, especially on Instagram, to grow your following. And I know how that's important and everything, but like sometimes I'll post a poem and I'll wish I had left it because I want to work on it more. And I can obviously work on it more, but I know sometimes I wish that I just didn't post them yet. So, you know, take your time with what you're writing, whether it's a poem or a story or a novel. You know, don't rush yourself. You need to take the time to get it to where it needs to be. So this is the last one from the Poetry Memes Twitter account that I selected. So this is that like whistling meme with like the boyfriend and the girlfriend, and the boyfriend's looking back at another girl and the girlfriend's like super offended. So the boyfriend who's whistling says me. The girlfriend who is offended says capitalism. And the girl that the boyfriend is whistling at says being a poet. I think this says everything. It just says everything. Being any type of writer is hard because unless you hit it big, you're basically a starving artist. That's just your life. You have to learn to do so many different things. Like nowadays, to be like a writer and to make money off of it and live off of it, you have to just be so good at a lot of different things. Capitalism. Now we're looking at memes from the Writing Memes Reddit account. Okay. Writing down ideas whenever they come to you. So it shows a person waking up at 5 a.m. Just had such a good idea. Gotta write this down. The next morning, when the glove. That is accurate though. Sometimes I'll write things down and it'll just be like, I can't remember where the idea was going. It is just a weird fragmented sentence that makes no sense. Alright, this one's really good. So it shows a guy taking off headphones and it says, when you're listening back on your writing and you come across a dumb sentence. The accuracy. I hate when I'm listening back the writing and I just cringe at my own sentence. That happened a lot with like one chapter that I was editing on my book, and I was just like, just rewriting a lot of this chapter. The cringe factor. I hate it. Alright, this one. When you write something really dark and start to worry about yourself. I love this one, mostly because it's an office meme, but also because like I write something really dark all the time. And so I kind of have stopped starting to worry about myself about it. Like, writing dark things is really normal for me, I would say. But sometimes you still manage to write something dark enough that you're like, whoa, am I okay? All right, the next one. When you realize you've used the same word 3 times in one sentence. To the thesaurus. The thesaurus. It's an image from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, but that is accurate. But I feel like I do that more. I don't know. I might do that more in poetry because, like, sometimes I'll use the same word multiple times in a poem, and I'm like, nope, not doing it. Because depending on how short the poem is, and if you're supposed to be repeating the words, it doesn't jive well, so it just really depends. But relatable. Alright, this one shows a penguin crossing his arms, and he looks mad. When you want to read the rest of the story, but you're the one writing it. That is relatable, for sure. Like, sometimes you just want to know, like, everything. You just want to experience it without writing it, but then you're like, oh yeah, I'm the writer. Alright. Stop. I'm not broken, says the story. And the story's like on the ground and is like angry. And then the next panel is a character with a hammer, and it says me. And it says, I'm gonna fix you up. Could be taken in so many ways. Sometimes we over edit, and so it can be taken in that way. But it could also be taken in the way of just like personifying your writing. Your writing being like, leave me alone. I'm fine the way I am. And you're like, you're not though. So this next one's really funny. It shows someone typing on a computer and they're kind of like smiling maliciously. And it says, how I feel making my favorite character suffer. Now, I don't know if this is intended for like a fanfic thing, but I actually have like the opposite, because I'll cry. I'll cry when I put my characters through like bad things, and I'll apologize to them. I'll be like, I'm so sorry. Oh, you just have to keep fighting through it. It's okay. I'm that person. I really love this one. This one is so good. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it says, me after spending 0.5 seconds researching a topic for a story. And then it shows William Dafoe as Harry Osborn from the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. And it says, I'm something of a scientist myself. This is so good because I've looked up so much stuff for my story. I have researched so many things, and then it's just like I have like little snippets of like information about things, and like it'll come up in conversation. I'll be like, well, I know a thing or two about that. It's like, but I don't really, not in depth. This one's really cute. It says, when the inspiration finally strikes, and it shows like a cat doing like the Puss in Boots eyes, and there's like little lights in his eyes, but that's really how it feels when you feel inspired. It's just like the light up moment, and you're like, yes, I experienced it. And I think this is the last one from the writing memes Reddit. And so it shows a brick wall that's well made and one that's like not well made. And the well made one says describing your story, and the not well made one says writing your story. And that is so true. Like, you can just talk about your story for like ever, and it just be so good. But then you go and write it, and you're like, oh my god, it takes so much more work to actually make it what it is in my head. Writing is actually hard work, guys. A lot of people who don't write are like, oh, that's like so easy, right? No, it's not. Now I will be doing memes that were sent to me by my friend Skylar. I will link their information below. They are a really good poet, so you should definitely go check them out. Their work is great. I haven't read any of these because I just trust their judgment, so Here we go. So this is like a scene from Lilo and Stitch. It says, when you find those first writing attempts, next time we flush the evidence. Flush. That's cute. It'd be like that. It does. And sometimes you just want to get rid of the bad drafts and stuff. Alright, this one shows Edgar Allan Poe, and it says, Edgar Allan Poe is about to run into a tree. What do you yell at him? Poetry. Oh my god, that's just one of those like silly puns ones, but like I love it. It's funny. It works for me. I also love Edgar Allan Poe. Okay, so this next one is also an Office meme, and it's the Office meme where Pam shows Michael like two images and says that there's something different about them, but they're the same. Or maybe she was showing Dwight. I don't remember. But this is funny. So one of the pictures says daydreaming about writing. The other picture says writing. And then under it says, corporate needs you to find the difference between this picture and this picture. And then Pam says me across it. It says, they're the same picture. Oh my goodness. I think this one's really funny, but like at the same time, obviously daydreaming about writing and writing are two different things. But I definitely get the feeling of this. I approve. This next one is a scene from Tangled, okay? I've been writing this novel for an entire month. What if it's not everything I dreamed it'd be? It will be. And what if it is? What do I do then? That's the good part, I guess. You get to start a new novel. That's sweet. That's a really nice way to look at it. I mean, finishing up a work can be bittersweet and it can be sad, but at the same time, you know, you get to start something new, and starting something new is really great. It's great to be able to dive into a new world. This next one is the Drake meme where he's like, you know what I'm talking about, like the stop point. Okay, so he's like, stop, writing at a reasonable time. Point, writing in the middle of the night. Why? This happens to me all the time. It's like, brain, work like a normal brain. My brain's like, no, have you met us? We don't do that. All right, this next one shows, what's his name? I know the actor's name, but I can't remember. But this man is holding up what looks like a potato chip to his eye, and it says, the list of books that I've actually finished writing. Calling me out. That's so true. Like, I have so many ideas for things, and I have like snippets of writing for every one of them, and so little actually finished. Anyways, on to the next one. This is a tweet from Spark Notes. Birds, sadness, and the moon were invented by poets to sell more poems. That's a good one. Birds. Yes. The poets invented those things. Sell poems. We had to hook you in. You know, we'd bring you in. You know? And that's it. That is it, guys. That is it. Memes were reacted to. Okay, darlings, that's it for today's video. If you liked this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications. Don't forget to tippity tap in the comments below to tell me if you liked this video, and if you would like to see me react to more poetry and writing memes, because that was a lot of fun. If you've made it this far, please pick up your bonus points here. And remember to always rise from your ashes, darlings. Until next time, bye.